Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This wonderful, wonderful Thursday. First of all, please ignore the hair. I am cutting it today. I've gone far enough with this experiment of trying to grow it. I can't stand it. I'm not going to go through this fluffy stage. It will look proper for tonight's live stream at 6 p.m. Today, I want to talk about our youth and what quality and depth we still need. I've heard a lot of nonsense over this window. I've heard a lot of people spouting absolute pie in the sky, fairy dust, unicorns, rainbows, Spurs winning titles, finishing above Arsenal and Liverpool. Spurs' kids are going to be absolutely fantastic this year. And I'm going to bring that back to reality. Call that negative. I don't care. I've got that reputation now. I'm bringing it back to reality for all of those that say these kids are going to be amazing this year. These kids are going to give us depth. These kids are going to give us options. And these kids, what they are, is going on loan. That's what these kids are doing. They're going on loan. Look, it is what it is, but nothing is changing from that respect. I think what's happened here is everybody's got far too excited about kids that have come on and played 30, 45 minutes in pre-season friendlies, largely, apart from the Bayern Munich games, largely against very underwhelming opposition that you would expect them to show what they can do. They're footballers at Tottenham Hotspur. For some reason, though, this summer, our fans have gone above and beyond. The media, not just our fans, the media have gone above and beyond talking about these youngsters as though they are the second coming of Lionel Messi. And I think everybody needs to take a little step back. First and foremost, if Ange rated any of these kids as highly as some of you lot do, I'll ask this question. In 6 pre-season friendlies, why is the only one he started Jamie Donnelly? Because we had no other left back. Not once. 6 games. Not once has he... Mighty Moore, you go and start on the right wing instead of Johnson today. Lancashire, instead of playing Kulu in a false 9, I know Kulu. I've seen Kulu play. You go and play up there. Donnelly, go and play on the left wing instead of left back where you're not. You know, Hall, you start in midfield today instead of Papasar. We haven't done it. He hasn't done it. And now, before everyone gets on my back, I'm not talking about Archie Gray and Bergvall. They were signings the club made. They parted money. They're going to play. But everyone is raving about these kids. I'm seeing videos all across the internet. The Spurs youth factory. Spurs are building the best youth team in world football. Spurs have the scariest youth team in the league. Again, you all know me by now. Based on what? How many of you send me messages into my YouTube saying, we'll finish second? And I go, based on what? Because no one, that question I've realized over the years is the difference between you see when people are pie in the sky and it's all heart and no head, or people who actually turn around and go, the reason I think we'll finish second is boom, 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 boom. And they can lay it out clearly. But again, the reason why I talk about this is lots of people have said, oh my God, we've got all these kids and they're going to help us in the Europa League. They're going to be really good fullback, right, for us. Not playing fullback. They're going to be good fullbacks for us if so-and-so's injured. And all summer, myself and others have maintained they're not going to be here. They're going to be out on loan. And they're like, no, they're going to stay. They're good enough. And other than Mikey Moore, who my understanding, someone might tell me, and I'm happy to be put in my place on this one, my understanding is that Mikey Moore's too young to go on loan in England. Not 100% sure, but I think that's right. So I understand Mikey Moore will stay. I doubt he'll get games. I reckon he'll get 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes here, maybe a Europa League at home against a team that we should be beating 4 or 5-0. But let's have a look at some of these youth players. Let's see, why is there such high belief in them? Yes, our youth team did really well last year. But whilst our youth team was doing really well, other clubs were actually playing their kids in proper games of football. Man United were giving youth galore a game. Liverpool, Chelsea, City do it. All these clubs play youngsters. Spurs didn't. Then all of a sudden, without kicking a ball in proper football, I'm not talking about pre-season, all of a sudden, without kicking a ball, we have labelled them as the greatest young players in world football. Generational. You watch this kid. He's going to be amazing. Yet none of them can start in the 11. And by the way, this isn't the strongest Spurs 11 we've ever seen. This isn't a midfield packed with superstars. This isn't a forward line packed with superstars. So why are none of these kids saying, I'm here, I'm playing? Why is Postecoglou not doing that? Why did he not give one of them, other than Jamie Donnelly, a start in 6 pre-season games? 6 pre-season games. You're telling me in not one game we could have seen Mikey Moore on right wing? It's madness to me. It's madness. Now, for me, these kids need time. They need a chance to learn. They need a chance to grow, and they need to go out on loan to play men's football. There's a difference between playing with people all your own age and then going and playing against senior pros, whether that's League One, League Two, Championship. Senior pros, hard as nails. They'll kick you. They'll pinch you. They'll pull your shirt. They'll rough you up. They'll go through you. We want to see that, surely. So let's see what's happened. First and foremost, the news has broken today that, listen, I could have brought up one of many reports for Jamie Donnelly, but Jamie Donnelly is an imminent transfer to Leyton Orient in League One. Again, for me, absolutely perfect. The 19-year-old, look, there's no doubting, again, I'm not going to say these kids don't have talent. There's no doubting they do, but let's see them do it. Let's see them go out on loan, and not a couple of good games, not where we go, oh my God, Donnelly's played 4 games, 2 goals, an assist, and everyone goes, he is a superstar. I mean, a season, a full season where you go, he stood out there. I'm not saying every game they're going to be brilliant. They're kids. They're going to have bad games. But most of the season, you want the reports to be coming back that boy was special. That boy stood out like a sore thumb. For example, when Conor Gallagher went on loan to Charlton Athletic, to Swansea in lower leagues, he stood out like a sore thumb. He stood out. Jermaine Defoe, back in the day, when he went on loan from West Ham to Bournemouth and he beat the goal-scoring record. He scored like 16, 17 games in a row or whatever it was and ended up with 30-odd goals. I can't remember the exact numbers. That's the sort of loan you want, right? Ben White went on loan, didn't he, from Brighton down to Leeds. Stood out like a sore thumb. That's what we want to see from our youth players. That's what we've got to see for them to live up to this hype that many of you are putting on them. Now, do I think some of them will make it in the first team in the future? Why not? Do I think all of them can? No. Hardly any team does that. And Postecoglou so far from pre-season and from last season has shown that he's not willing to do it. Now, some of you will go, yeah, but Sava, the second half of games, they came on and looked good. Sure. The second half of games, when all the teams are making changes, 45 minutes of pre-season doesn't tell you that they're ready. Starting a game, playing in proper games where they've got to defend, where Spurs don't have all the ball, right? Playing in games from the beginning where we're like when we were under siege against Bayern Munich for the first 2 games in the first half. That's where I want to see, right, what does a Hall do in midfield? How does he cope with that? How does Donnelly cope with that at left back when he's got Nabry running at him? How does Lancashire fare in a game where he's not getting a lot of the ball? What does he do positional wise? That's what I want to see. So you had Jamie Donnelly. Looks like he's going on loan to Leyton Orient. Great idea. This is what we should have been talking about all summer, not how these kids are going to be magnificent in this season. Then, if we have a look at the next one, let's have a look. Share screen. We have a look at this. Another player. I've seen YouTube shows and podcasts where people have talked about this is Scarlett's year. Scarlett should play in the first team. Don't need to send him out on loan. And again, now he's gone to promoted Oxford United. They've just come up from League One to the Championship. This is what we need to see. So far, Dane Scarlett's been really poor wherever he's been. It doesn't matter how you want to break it down. He didn't score goals at Ipswich. He scored 6 goals at Portsmouth down in League One. He's not done well wherever he has been. So for me, we've got to see him go to Oxford. Not only just go to Oxford, but make the number 9 spot his own. Go there and say, look, this is the reason I play for Tottenham Hotspur. This is the reason I'm rated so highly. get in that team, play week in, week out and score goals. What we can't see is what we saw from Dane Scarlett last year and the year before, where he starts every 7 or 8 games, where he gets 15 minutes at the end of games. Because again, that doesn't help their development. So let's see how good he is. And I'm not saying these boys can't be good players, but I'm pragmatic about it. I don't just go off in raptures. And I'm seeing, I'll call it out, I'm seeing far too much waffle. I'm seeing so much waffle from YouTube and video content creators that aren't using any logical thinking. I get it. Be happy for the season. Be optimistic. But some of it is just going so far past the point of reality that I don't know how anyone wants to take, how anyone else other than Spurs fans should take us seriously. I don't know. I just don't think we can be taken seriously when we're not being serious. People are messaging me in my chat going, if you can't see how Bergvall and Gray elevate us to compete with Arsenal, City and Liverpool. I mean, listen, Bergvall looks a good footballer, but elevate us to compete with the top 3. I mean, these are 18-year-old kids. What are we doing here? What happened to the sensible football fan keeping their feet on the ground? What happened to it? Then, not just those two, then we can have a look at this one as well. Let's share the screen. Where is it? This one. Again, last year we signed Valise and everyone said, oh, he's not been bought for the first half of the season. He's been bought for the second half. And just said it. Second half of the season, he goes out on loan at Espanyol. Don't worry. He's for next season. He's part of the plan. He's for next season. The reason we signed him, he's going to be the backup to the striker this year. And again, now he's out on loan. And my point is, I'm not saying these kids shouldn't be on loan. For anyone that isn't listening, it's just that we're, again, every time we sign a youngster, or a youngster plays from the youth team, we're getting so carried away. Yet we've got no track record and there's no evidence demonstrating that these youngsters are ready and that they're going to play in the first team. So again, Espanyol just being promoted from the Spanish second division. They've just come up to La Liga. Let's see if he's got anything about him. He'll play. But will he? I don't know. I've been speaking to Perchi, who goes to Espanyol games all the time because he lives out in Spain. Said, look, the forwards they've got, he might not get in. And it's not that they're amazing. It's just that, is he amazing? So let's see again. Let's see a league campaign where Valise goes out on loan, says, I'm the number 1 striker. This is why Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League signed me. And let's see him get 13, 14, 15 goals in the season. Let's see. I don't know. Will he do that? And then the last one. If we have a look here. Now, this isn't over the line, this one yet. But all the reports, and I could have gone to, there's so many reports about this. All the reports are suggesting that Spurs are negotiating with Getafe for Ashley Phillips to go on loan. And again, Ashley Phillips was signed last year when we needed proper centre-halves. Ashley Phillips was signed and everyone said, oh, he's not for the first half of this season. He's for the second half. Again, second half of the season came. Even when we had injuries at centre-half, the manager didn't want to give this guy 1 minute, showing he has no faith in the kids at all. Sends him out on loan to Plymouth, starts really well. Towards the back end of the season as they're fighting relegation, he was dropped and didn't play. Comes back to Spurs this summer, and before he picked up his injury, again, couldn't get a start as centre-half. The manager again decided that Skip and Gray should play at centre-back instead of a centre-back. So again, I ask, what did we sign him for? We're talking about the future again, but it's always the future. It's this future that never seems to arrive. Again, I've got no problem with Ashley Phillips going out on loan. But again, so far, that's Donnelly, Scarlett, Valise, soon to be Phillips. I've got no doubt that Lancashire will follow as well. I've got no doubt that Hall will probably get a loan out. Devine. And again, it begs a question. When will we relax as a fan base? When will we stop overhyping every single kid? It's great. I get it. People want clicks and views. People want to say this lovely stuff in this hope. I get it. We've been starved for 16 years. But I'm seeing kids put out videos saying things like, these are the best youngsters we've ever produced. I'm sorry. I've been alive and watched this football club produce talent like Sol Campbell, hate him, love him, whatever. World-class centre-half. Ledley King, world-class centre-half. Harry Kane, world-class centre-forward. We've produced footballers, right? But all of a sudden now this is the best players we've produced. And it's like, whoa, let's slow down. Let's let them prove themselves. Give them time. Like Steve Perryman said, stop putting pressure on them. Yeah, they will already feel the pressure. They're at a big club like Tottenham at the age of 17, 18, 19, 20. Stop putting pressure on them. Stop telling the world that they're going to shock everyone. Stop telling the world that they're generational, right? Generational would mean they start week in, week out. So when I hear Mikey Moore's generational, sure, cool. If Mikey Moore's generational, why isn't he starting week in, week out in front of Brennan Johnson? I'm just posing that question. Generational, you would start above Brennan Johnson, who's a very average footballer. Now, I'm not saying Mikey Moore can't go on to be world-class in the future, but I've been here before. Many of you have been here before with kids upon kids upon kids upon kids that are going to be world-class. I heard this with Tom Carroll. I heard this with Stephen Coulter. I've heard this with Dane Scarlett, with Troy Parrott. We heard this with Jake Livermore. I remember when Jake Livermore broke through, he scored on his debut in a friendly against Barcelona. And people go, this kid is special. Look what happened there. We heard this when Andros Townsend broke onto the scene. We heard this with Marcus Edwards. We heard this with Dennis Churkin. I don't know. We heard this with Madueke. Look, my point is this. They're kids. They're young adults. They've not played first-team football ever, most of these. Scarlett, a couple of games on loan. Devine, a couple of games on loan. But they've not played top-league football for a reason. Either the manager doesn't trust them or the manager doesn't think they're ready. Either way, why do we get so carried away about them? And I've got a theory. I think it's truly because our windows are so poor that we get carried away year after year with kids. We get carried away with them rather than going and signing what we need. And this is where the second part is, the quality and depth is needed. Rather than going to get that quality and depth, what we do is we buy 18-year-olds and then go, oh, look how they strengthen the team based off nothing but blind hope and optimism. And that's fine. Optimism and hope is great. But the levels we go to with this is, like, people aren't going, oh, I think they're going to be really good. They are fantastic. Bergvall is the second coming. Whoa, Bergvall looks a really talented footballer. Of course he does. Yeah. I'm not sure about Gray. I haven't seen anything in Gray that makes me think he's anywhere near a Bergvall level player. But Bergvall, for me, super exciting. Very talented. But people starting going, he should start every game. He's better than Maddison. He's better than this. And you're like, whoa. First and foremost, with James Maddison, you've got a sample size of 6 or 7 years in the Premier League of him scoring goals and assisting for fun. And all of a sudden, a few cameos from Bergvall, and people are going, drop Maddison, Bergvall's got to play. Like, whoa, okay. Now, I'm not saying Bergvall can't play in front of him, but again, that's what we do. We see a few 45-minute cameos and automatically start making them better than players that we've already got that are seasoned pros. I don't know. Look, where I'm talking about quality and depth, I don't know if any of you remember this. I did a show I did a video the day after the transfer window shut last summer. And some of you might remember it. I was actually wearing a three-piece suit. I was on my way to a wedding, so that might be why it stands out. And the title of the video, and I'll post the link in here so you can see it, was, did Spurs, I think it was something like, hang on, let me see. The actual name of the video was Spurs transfer window. Did we do enough? Sava's final verdict. Look, and I'm going to show you so that you know I'm not lying. Here you go. Present, share screen. There we go. You can see there, right? So this video you can see was, I don't know if you can actually see, 11 months ago. So it was just this time last year when the window shut, and it says Spurs transfer window. Did we do enough? Sava's final verdict. I'll ask you, I'll put the posting, go and watch that video. Go and watch that video. And the reason why is everything I'm saying this window, I was saying at the end of that window as well. Have we got the depth? And I was saying no. Did we cover the areas we need? No. And I got battered from pillar to post last summer for saying, we're going to regret not buying another centre-half. No, we've got this, we've got that. Then we lose Van de Ven and Romero, and everyone goes, oh, it's not Angie's fault. We didn't sign centre-halves. Yeah, bloody obvious. I'm saying it again this window. I don't think we've covered anywhere in quality of depth. As I showed you the other day, do I think we've got a lot of players? Yes, we have. Look, we've got a lot of players. Is there quality and depth there? No, not for me. So in the last 2 weeks of the window, it's 2 weeks tomorrow the window shuts, 15 days. For me, if we're a serious club, if we're a top club, we need defensive reinforcements and midfield reinforcements. If we're a serious club. So the question I'm asking you, and I'll end it on this. Are we a serious club? Are we going to keep buying kids and everyone thinking that's how you close the gap? Or are we going to be a serious club? Can we push the boat out and go and buy a couple of players that we really need? Again, we talked the other day about these centre-halves. Yeah? If two of them were to get injured at once, we're screwed again. And you've got no defensive cover anywhere on the bench. We'd be screwed. After Porro, Spence, Gray, Abbott, are they really proper right backs that you think close the gap on Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool? Again, Davis, Spence, and I said Donnelly, he's going out on loan. Davis and Spence at left back. Are they really going to help you grow? Look at the wide areas up front. I mean, other than Son, what's really there? Solomon, Werner, Kulu, Johnson. It's very, very weak for me. So again, go and watch that video. See what I was saying. Right? See what I was saying. Nothing's changed. And for me, that is going to be our downfall this season. What we can't do this year is the same fans that absolutely berate and abuse people like me and Stel for saying, act like a proper club. Go and buy what's needed. Get the quality and depth. Are the same fans that say, oh, you're negative, you're this. Then when the injuries happen and we need that quality and depth, they're the same fans. This is their excuse as to why we didn't do well. But injuries. Sure, act like a big club then. Get in some depth. You can't have it both ways. Okay? For me, there's a lot to do in 15 days of this window. There's a hell of a lot to do. And all the people that are predicting seconds and thirds, I wish I was on the drugs that they're on. I think it's absolute. I mean that in the nicest possible way. You know what I mean? I really wish I was taking what they're taking, because at the moment I am seeing a lot of praise with no evidence or substance that we're actually building to close the gap. Let me know what you think. I'll be back live tonight at 6 p.m. and we'll be looking forward to the Leicester game. What will be the 11 that Spurs pick? We'll all pick it together. Take care, and as always, come on, you Spurs.